That is his identity.
Christine could have destroyed Robyn's image, and she had the receipts.
I'm not trying to put all of the blame on Kody or all the blame on Robyn either. In fact,
Christine had every opportunity to psychologically dismantle Robyn, and she chose not to. That's restraint. She could have said, he constantly criticized Mary, Janelle, and Robyn. He claimed Robyn let herself go, didn't maintain basic hygiene, was a terrible cook, and had those tiny, sharp teeth he couldn't stand. Her endless crying? A complete turnoff. He actually missed the chaos with Mary because at least that had passion.
I'm not accusing you. I'm not accusing you.
Me too.
That kind of confession could have been devastating. Instead, she stayed quiet. But if a book ever comes out and Christine decides to speak freely, there's no telling what will surface. The tension from that possibility alone is probably enough to unnerve anyone involved.
As being Robyn's husband, that is his identity.
Now that Robyn is the last wife standing, it's only a matter of time before the dynamic shifts. Favoritism rarely holds up when there's no competition. The very things once praised may become the new list of complaints. Even the dolls. He used to say they creeped him out.
I think he caters to Robyn's needs, to Robyn's kids.
Kody always needed an ally. Robyn filled that role perfectly. It's unlikely he criticized her to the others. She was clearly his favorite.
The rotation we had with my schedule before COVID.
Mary, on the other hand, was sidelined. Janelle? He treated her as if she was just there for convenience. Christine, while once idealized, likely became the focus of resentment, especially considering her background. She came from a respected AUB family and lived a stable, middle-class life. That stood in contrast to Kody and Robyn, who both grew up with less and carried emotional baggage tied to being outsiders in their own families. Their bond was forged through mutual feelings of exclusion and a shared obsession with material status. Hence the language shift.
Well, you were asking why our nanny was able to hang out with our kids and none of the other kids could.
Babysitters suddenly became nannies. Status over substance. And beneath it all, the classic manipulative tactics played out. Triangulation, emotional withholding, control masked as favoritism. But there's one unintended consequence of putting it all on camera. Viewers can now recognize these patterns and perhaps see a way out if they're living something similar. He ghosted their daughter's surgery and still expected respect.
Because Christine's just fine with, you do what you do you, I'm gonna do me.
Christine's reaction, you do what you do, perfectly captured the growing divide in the family during the COVID pandemic. It was a passive-aggressive way of saying she was done bending for Kody's ever-shifting expectations.
All of us were seeing fractures in the family culture.
This moment highlighted how the pandemic didn't cause the family's cracks. It exposed and widened them. Christine and Kody were already struggling. The romance and intimacy had been declining for some time. So when COVID restrictions demanded even more sacrifice, Christine saw no benefit in accommodating him further. When forced to choose between seeing loved ones, enjoying meaningful activities, or adhering to Kody's rigid rules, she chose her own peace and joy every time. In contrast, Janelle and Kody had maintained a decent romantic dynamic, not because of deep affection, but because Janelle never made Kody the center of her world. She had her own life, priorities, and independence. When it was her scheduled time with Kody, he'd participate briefly in her life, and that worked. But when the pandemic forced a choice between Kody and her children, she chose her children and her dogs without hesitation. The pandemic became a turning point for both women. Christine realized she didn't need Kody. More importantly, she didn't want him. She wanted a partner who cherished her, made her feel special, and treated her with love and respect. For years, she had believed she couldn't do it alone, marrying young and carrying much of the responsibility for raising children.
Oh, she's going off to have a major surgery done, and I can't hug her.
But Isabel's surgery and Kody's absence during that critical time showed her otherwise. She had been doing it alone all along. It became clear that the love and affection she sought weren't coming from Kody, and never would. She'd been holding on because she was taught to fight for marriage, to hold the family together, and to work tirelessly for a man's attention. But eventually, she asked herself, why fight for a marriage that's long dead? Why keep a family together when the one who should be leading it had been disengaged for years? Why seek affection from someone who showed so little regard for her children and for her? Janelle, on the other hand, enjoyed her autonomy. She had a flexible marriage on her terms, but when Kody attempted to impose new rules and authority, the dynamic shifted, and not in his favor. For years, he had been a part-time figure in her life while her kids and pets were the real constants. When he started issuing demands, it was clear he'd forgotten that he was never at the center of her world to begin with.
I am not the head of this family.
His attempt to act as the head of the household rang hollow. For years, the original 3 wives had been left to manage finances, raise children, and run their homes independently. Kody had contributed little in terms of real leadership or presence, so trying to assert authority now seemed absurd. Through all this, Janelle and Christine grew closer. They began to see that the emotional and practical support they had given each other over the years had formed a stronger foundation than anything Kody provided. In many ways, they had co-parented together more effectively than Kody ever had with them. And then came the final, revealing moment, Kody declaring, either you're in and you're complying with our standards, not shared values, not mutual understanding, but compliance with his and someone else's standards. It made one thing clear. He was no longer speaking as a partner, but as an enforcer of someone else's rules. TLC says it's about sharing love. Critics say it's emotional exploitation. The day Centerdy it's just resented as another healthy way to share more love, though the preview already hints at a situation where one wife appears to be getting the majority of the attention, setting the stage for inevitable drama. The premise raises the question, is this an attempt to replace the long-running Sister Wives series? The format feels familiar, another unconventional family dynamic broadcast for entertainment.
It's a goat rodeo of extreme proportions.
Likely heading toward the same emotionally messy territory. TLC, once known as the Learning Channel, now seems better defined as terrible life choices. With each new show, the network appears more invested in sensationalism than substance. One could almost expect the next lineup to feature 600-pound polygamists who are also hoarders.
I love that our kids really have the whole world open to them.
There's also a recurring concern, the impact on the children. History suggests these reality TV families often implode under public scrutiny, and the well-being of the youngest participants rarely seems to be a top priority. Questions remain, are safeguards like trust funds or counseling even considered, or is it just another cycle of spectacle at the kids' expense? Whether polyfamily thrives or falls apart, the formula remains the same. High drama, questionable choices, and ratings-driven storytelling masquerading as lifestyle exploration. Never trust someone who says they're broke, while buying another mansion and charging $60K in toys? What excuse is Kody possibly making at home right now, especially with his sly and petty wife by his side, as more and more information surfaces about Robyn's obsession with spending money, anyone's money really? At this point, it's hard to imagine they don't know what's being uncovered daily. And yet, somehow, Robyn continues to defend herself and Kody backs her up? How? It's baffling.
Your guys' family situation, your financial situation is very complex.
If their mortgage advisor or lender isn't already nervous, they should be. One thing is certain, life with a narcissist follows a predictable pattern. Kody isn't focused on the real issue.
Yet, to go to God in gratitude and try and fill my love tank.
He sees himself as the victim. His narrative will be about violated privacy, attacks on poor, misunderstood Robyn, who supposedly just wanted acceptance, and how people have hurt him so deeply he might as well be full of stab wounds.
Because of what's gone on with Janelle and with Christine and with the kids.
Robyn, for her part, keeps fueling the fire because their relationship thrives on having an outside enemy to blame. The moment that enemy disappears, the blame turns inward. And of course, anyone who challenges them is quickly cut off. That's how it works. And that's the end of the unofficial psychological analysis. Now on to the real spectacle, the spending. Robyn once claimed, We just had different priorities.
With the way that my credit is now, I am not going to qualify.
Apparently, one of those priorities was racking up $60,000 on doll collections and impulse buys. That line was nonsense to begin with, but with the latest revelations, it's clear she's completely detached from financial reality. There's a strong case to be made that the family has far more income than people assume.
You literally have sort of a breakdown in the family. The children of each mother.
Kody and Robyn seem to control a significant portion of the money, while others have moved on, investing, saving, building their futures. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn are hoarding collectibles, shopping channels junk, and luxury real estate. It's not just irresponsible, it's depressing. That much money could have been invested in something with actual value. Instead, it's spent on items that depreciate the moment they're unboxed. It's a financial black hole. Kody, for all his bluster, isn't as clueless as he appears.
Charity for Mary isn't going to be here in this case. I want to make sure we can make a buck.
He plays into the chaos. He's talked about his business graveyard on television, but he lies so effortlessly, who's to say that wasn't just for attention? Early financial missteps aside, he likely found advisors and made smarter moves. College funds, niche business ventures, maybe even investments in high-return markets like firearms or precious metals. It's not that they're lacking money. They've likely funneled family resources into Kody's private ventures and either never paid it back or returned the bare minimum. Profits from those ventures likely kept to themselves.
Conserve. Some of my sister wives wouldn't conserve. They would just go, blah, that's
And they aren't shy about it. They flaunt their purchases, their status, their lifestyle. It's not about shame. It's about visibility. The performance of wealth is part of the appeal. The more attention they get, the more satisfied they seem. They say family is everything, unless you're the one doing nothing and taking everything. Oh, really? You don't say. A perfect summary of Kody's approach to life. He has no interest in doing anything, just endless complaining.
And then COVID hit.
During the height of COVID, season 15 made that clearer than ever. His attitude, the exasperated looks from everyone around him, it all painted the same picture. From the very beginning, his pattern hasn't changed. Do as little as possible and grumble about everything.
Janelle and I would be sitting there busting our butts, getting breakfast made, cleaning up the mess.
It's obvious that the original 3 wives handled the majority of the responsibilities. Kody's contribution? Just enough action on camera to maintain the illusion of involvement.
I'm not suggesting that Mary chase me.
And in that same episode, he tells Mary she should be courting him to fix their relationship. The audacity is exhausting. He constantly complains that he's not seen as the leader of the family.
You're either in complying with our standard or I'm not coming around.
And wonders why he's disconnected from his children. The answer is simple. He's absent. If he devoted half as much effort to his family as he does to hiding his receding hairline, things might look very different today. Instead, he indulged himself with luxury cars while the women drove unreliable vehicles. He focused on his image while others did the real work of holding the family together. Now, the original wives appear lighter, happier, free. In contrast, the 4th wife seems worn down and deeply unhappy. It's long past time someone told him the truth. The curly girl hair routine didn't help. It only made things worse. What's left looks more like a damp, stringy mop than a mane. He's no longer the youthful, golden-haired figure he imagines. He's a balding, middle-aged man clinging to the last threads of an identity that never really held up.
I wear a mask. I social distance. I sanitize my hands. I do all the things that the CDC says to do.
His actions, or lack thereof, speak for themselves. He contributes little, complains constantly, and masks insecurity with bravado. There might be a tiny part of him that knows the truth, but his ego won't let it through. Kody let a guest tell him to ditch 3 wives, and Christine was the problem? Make it make sense.
So most of all, I'm actually looking forward to getting together with my best friend from my childhood, Ken Grant.
In season 8, during a family vacation episode, Kody Brown invites his best friend Ken along for the trip. Despite knowing Kody is in a plural marriage, Ken bluntly suggests that Kody should get rid of 3 of his wives.
A few years ago, Ken sent a text to Kody saying, you know, dude, you really should just divorce 3 of your wives.
Casually dismissing the very foundation of the family's lifestyle. Christine is understandably upset by the comment. But instead of defending her or the family, Kody asks the other wives to leave the room so he can have a frank discussion with Christine in private, because apparently humiliating someone is fine as long as there's a door closed.
Please bless us to be forgiving and kind to one another and bless us.
So many times our marriage relationship.
He then leads a prayer, as if that somehow neutralizes the situation. Janelle chimes in with a line about how sometimes you have to eat crow, framing the whole incident as just another awkward social hiccup, rather than the emotionally dismissive moment it was. The entire exchange feels like something lifted straight out of a high school clique drama, rather than a conversation between adults in a plural marriage. Ken's behavior is inappropriate. He accepted the invitation knowing the nature of the family dynamic, yet still chose to pass judgment. To his credit, he later called Christine and apologized after watching the episode and seeing how hurtful his comment was. Kody, on the other hand, showed no such awareness. He repeatedly minimized Christine's emotions, often implying that her feelings were selfish or exaggerated.
I do not like foot stamping and hair tossing. I don't like the princess behavior.
Throughout the show, Kody has a pattern of dismissing Christine whenever she expresses her emotions. He frequently refers to her as a princess when she voices her concerns, and in this particular episode, even suggests her anger might be due to her period, a textbook example of deflection and belittlement.
I'm not going to ask him for an apology. What? Ask him for an apology.
You know what?
Christine later revealed that Ken did reach out to apologize once he fully understood the impact of his words. Notably, Kody never made a similar effort. One can't help but wonder how differently he would have reacted if Ken had suggested cutting Robyn from the family instead. The moment highlights a troubling dynamic. Christine is visibly hurt, while the rest of the family seems disturbingly unbothered. Meanwhile, Kody avoids taking a stand for any of his wives, offering instead a non-committal blend of awkward silence and passive leadership. Robyn Brown never really liked Mary, and the friendship? Just a front.
Saying once, oh, I'm not the only one in love with Robyn.
Yeah.
Because Mary and Robyn had
a friendship.
When Robyn and Kody first met, it appeared that Kody believed the easiest way to integrate Robyn into the family was by orchestrating a fake friendship between her and Mary. If Mary, the first wife, embraced Robyn as her best friend and publicly accepted Kody and Robyn's relationship, then any potential objections from others could be dismissed.
That is gaslighting. There you go. That's gaslighting.
This supposed friendship seemed entirely performative. In reality, Robyn couldn't stand Mary. Behind closed doors, she appeared to harbor resentment or disinterest toward nearly everyone in the family, including those she was claimed to be closest with, like Mary and Mickelty. Kody knew what it would take to secure Robyn's place, and Robyn played along without hesitation.
He has to stay at her house all the time.
His reasoning with it was that he wanted to keep.
When the COVID pandemic began, it provided a convenient excuse for the two of them to distance themselves further from the rest of the family. They acted as a team, plotting, maneuvering, and gradually isolating themselves while maintaining control over family dynamics. In retrospect, the remaining wives may be better off not having spent their lives entangled in that web. Continued manipulation would have likely drained their emotional and financial resources, not to mention their peace of mind.
Bet. I have this little spot in my closet.
Mary, in particular, was exploited. In earlier years, she expressed deep emotional attachment to Robyn's children, especially Solomon and later Ariella. She spoke of them as if they were her own and even kept a closet full of clothes for Solomon, believing perhaps this was the path to expanding her family. Yet in practice, she was seldom allowed to be alone with the children.
When I go out with Solomon, it's only for a couple hours at the most.
Robyn's control over access was clear. Mary was permitted to take Solomon only once, a moment that stood out precisely because it was so rare.
After about an hour and a half or less, he starts asking to see Mom.
Robyn never intended to share her children or foster genuine trust with the original wives. Her focus appeared to be keeping her kids closely bonded to her and her own immediate circle. The closeness she projected was strategic, not sincere. Okay, I think we've unpacked enough for one day. If you're still here, you're my kind of person. I'm Elena. This was Reality Nexus X, and I'll see you when I see you.